right. So, is Torres going to make an 8 night? What are our thoughts on that?
Hopefully.
Chances are usually pretty good, unfortunately.
Oh.
He's been pretty decent this year in the field, right?
I just don't think shortstop is his natural position. He's really a second baseman, and he's kind of stuck based on who's there to play that position. Although LeMahieu's DHing today, which I found kind of weird, but
they gotta find a way to get that just amazing bat Brunetto door in.
Yeah, I forgot Andujar was still there. Outfield depth so depleted.
Is this the most depleted outfield depth in the majors between these two teams?
Yeah, both.
I think the Yankees are a little bit worse, but yeah, I would agree though.
White Sox have lost 3 outfielders already, so the Yankees have lost Hicks. So.
One of the Sox one's Angle's on his way back pretty soon, seems like.
Yeah, his recovery timetable keeps shifting though.
Yeah, they said he's supposed to start a rehab assignment next week, I would assume. So.
Yeah.
But he hasn't played all season, so he's gonna need time to even get his timing down. So he hasn't even played yet since middle of spring training.
Yeah.
I wonder if he'll take over center field full time until Robert comes back.
Yeah, I would assume so, because Danny Mendick can't easily fill in for the lefty platoon for what's his face for Eaton, but they still gotta decide who they want to move out of the lineup, which would be I don't know for sure though.
Yeah, interested to see how much time Leary gets with Angle coming back.
Lamb isn't too good of a hitter anymore, is he? He had some good years in Arizona, finished hot in Oakland last year, but outside of that,
he's been
when he's played, he's been showing some pop and then walking too. So, and then the Leary thing, he's on a club option, and I just find it hard because it's hard for them. I don't really see them eating options all the time. This sucks, but you never know.
Yeah, also an incredibly small sample size for Lamb. Probably not going to sustain. It's I think 133.
wow.
Yeah, it's just based on how many walks he's getting, and he has 2 home runs. So
yeah.
Pretty good first inning for Montgomery.
I'm behind as a break it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Popped up. First at bat.
He hasn't played since the Royal Series when he got the game. So
yeah, he's going to take probably a game to adjust.
we took concern about him coming back, though. He was starting to hit better since his tough April, so I'm not too concerned about him.
So I'm the only non-White Sox or Yankees Yankees fan in this call. How are you guys feeling about your respective teams right?
I think certain thing for the Yankees, I mean, it's certainly looking up from where it was prior. You know, in that tough, like, dozen games where, I don't know, it just, like, I usually don't buy into, like, feels, but, like, everybody just seems so sluggish, and, I don't know, the energy seems to have picked up, I guess. I don't like that kind of thing, but it does feel that way.
For the most part, I mean, I'm really impressed with our starting pitching, especially on the back end, because Cease is starting to come into his stride, getting his command a lot better. He's not throwing, he's like getting behind in the counts as much as curveball's working a lot better. Fastball command's getting better. Rodon's been the biggest surprise. I mean, he's one of the 6 no-hitters this year. His command's a lot better.
He was second in MLB among ERA for a while.
Yeah, he had a rough start recently. I think the umps got to him that game. He was getting pinched on a lot of bad calls, so it kind of messed up his rhythm and gave up a couple homers. But other than that, he did look okay in that start. He just got a little out of whack with his command once the umps were pinching him a lot in the zone. So there was a lot of questionable calls that day. I forgot who the ump was, but it wasn't
His
fun.
velocity is a lot higher than it used to be.
Yeah. I actually was at the no hitter. Closer to mine for that same reason too. My fiance is cooking. There'll be a lot of arguments sometimes. So.
In honor of Jose
Rondon striking out the side, impressive. All strikeouts came on sliders too.
Yeah, wow. Great inning.
Since it's now a commercial break, I'm gonna go try and calm my dog down.
There you go, Rodon. Nice bounce back so far.
Off speed looked pretty there.
I kind of feel bad because my buddy showed me this betting boost for 10 plus strikeouts for Rodon. I told him that might be a lot high. Now I'm like, maybe you should have taken it.
If he gets 10, that's...
But he bet the normal 6.5, which was fine. So
Yeah.
But the 10.5 boost might have been okay, seeing how this first inning went off.
Oh, he was gonna do 10.5 like as a teaser bet.
Yeah, there was like a boost for it, and I'm like, well, 10.5 might be a little tough because it's like, just that's a lot of strikeouts for one pitcher. But he has stuff to do it. But I mean, 10 is still a lot to ask for sometimes.
Yeah, that's a lot. I mean, that's a lot for anybody to take that bet.
Yeah.
Yeah, 6.5 though is good enough though. But yeah, the odds are not as good as a boost though.
Nice strikeout lineup too. You got that going for him.
All right, I'm back. Rondon's velocity looked really good in the first inning. It was sitting mid-90s, it looked like.
Yeah. Got
A
it.
lot of 95s.
Yeah, he'll start out slow on purpose just so he can save his arm for later on. So, and that gets something that's done on purpose. So
His fastball distribution, or his fastball velocity distribution on Savant is pretty funny. It's so wide. He goes down to 90 and can hit 99.
I thought that was kind of cool because, everybody knows, how I said that he hit 99, in the last inning of that no hitter. Mm-hmm. That was pretty cool because, adrenaline is definitely a real thing and it physically affects you. But that was it was good to quantify it. That when you're just amped up like that, you can just throw it as hard as you want.
Yeah, it was cool to see.
Callie, that was you that sent in when Modest Mouse had a new single, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, are you a big fan?
Absolutely. Nice. Easily in my top 5 favorite bands of all time.
Nice. What's your favorite album?
It's either The Lonesome Crowded West before the Sip Shank.
Interesting. Lonesome Crowded West, I think that's the perfect album, honestly.
I got into them after in around 2018, 2019. It was an unfortunate time to be a Modest Mouse fan. That was in the middle of their second longest hiatus.
Yeah. I met Isaac Brock outside of a show a couple years ago.
Nice.
Interesting guy.
Yeah, I can imagine.
He was just a little bit inebriated, but it was a pleasure meeting him.
So, Robert's been gone. They've really just been using Garcia and Hamilton in center, right?
Yeah, they've been the center fielders for now. I'd imagine it's Engel once he comes back, but it seems like there have been all sorts of complications with his injury. Hopefully he's back within the next month or so.
Yeah, he had a full hamstring. It was a grade 2, so he's having a few setbacks in between. So Hamilton's been really good defensively. He hasn't really been hitting, obviously. I mean, he's had a couple games. He had a 4-hit game recently too, which is kind of crazy. And then Leary's starting to pick it up a little bit more. He had a slow start to the season. Very rough offensive numbers. He's starting to pick it up now that he's playing a little bit more. So.
Andrew Vaughn looks a lot older than 22, 23, which is where he's at, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's actually, he's 23. I mean, he's only 5'10", but
he already looks like...
Yeah, I was about to say on screen.
He's not very much taller.
How I
He's not much taller than Madrigal, which is pretty weird for a first baseman, but he's pretty good defensively there, so it's not hurting him his height really. So,
Jeff,
what do you two White Sox fans like think of Madrigal? Like, are you like like do you? I don't know.
I know Luke's view of Madrigal.
Yeah, I'm not the biggest Madrigal fan. I think they probably should have traded him this past offseason. I think if you look at it, his ceiling just isn't that high. He's limited in his hitting abilities because he can't walk. If he does start to walk, I could see him. I would probably want him on the team long term. But if he keeps free swinging and not swinging for power, then I don't really see the benefit of keeping him long term.
Yeah. Like I feel like he's just more like, I don't know, more interesting than he is like good.
Yeah. I'd agree 100%.
He's not like Ichiro, who was super good defensively, which helped really increase Ichiro's value.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
his defense he actually was a Gold Glove defender in the Myers. He won a Gold Glove down there, which is really weird how slow his defense game came in the majors. Everyone expected a lot quicker for him to pick it up, but he's starting to do it now. He's starting to get a lot better over that baseball acumen that he's been praised for. I am starting to see a little bit more improvement on on driving the ball a little bit more. Obviously, the exit velocity isn't very high, but he does put together some, the contact rate's pretty crazy. But yeah, I think he needs to be more selective of what he swings at. His swing is a strike, is 2-strike approach is really good, which is what he's basically known for. Because he has a really high batting average of 2 strikes. But yeah, I wasn't too fond of trading. I know that Corbin Burns was basically the biggest rumor that was driving it. I don't know how much truth there was to that rumor, but that was what it was rumored at. There was some Reddit thread that was hyping that up. But there was guys like Tommy Westella on the market and Brad Miller and whatnot. But I'm like, this guy's so young. I don't think we should.
He's like if Madrigal hit for more power and was a lefty.
Yeah, I just feel like he's so young and he only played 29 games in the 60-game season last year because of the injury. I just didn't see giving up on him that quick. I understand the value. I understand what you possibly could get back if you included more in the package, but I think there were just people. I think a lot of fans were giving up on him way too early, honestly.
He was a little like Vital Brujan in that way. Not a lot of power, but good hit tool.
Yeah.
Except Brujan's, they say he's a plus defender at short.
Yeah, and I think he's much faster. Madrigal's pretty fast, but I think Brujan's.
I'd remember Madrigal. He had been thrown out in his time in 2020, I believe it was. He threw out a lot. He was thrown out a lot on the bases.
Yeah, he was starting to have a little bit of a too bland type of thing to his game, where he was just not either ignoring like stop signs or just being too over aggressive or just getting caught in rundowns. But he had 30 plus stolen bases in Birmingham or throughout the minors, and his time was there. So a lot of the stuff that you saw down below was not translating to the major league game very as quickly as we hoped. But like I said, I think he's starting to pick it up now, I'm not really too concerned about him anymore. But like I said, he only played half a season last year, and he's hasn't played every day this year, so he's still very young in his season. He's still a rookie this year, obviously. So, and I'm not ready to give up on him either. But I understand the criticism that he's getting, and people think that his ceiling is low. I totally get it, and it's a good case. I just don't think it's a little early to count him out.
Going back to Vaughn, on Baseball Reference, he's listed at 6 foot.
Yeah, he's pretty small for a first baseman.
Of course, there have been short first basemen before. Jeff Bagwell, I think, is the biggest example.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't think he was very tall.
Yeah, I'm confident he wasn't taller than 6 foot, and I think he might have been shorter than that.
Especially when he was hitting, he was like 4 feet tall.
Yeah, mean, he hasn't really played much first base this year because he's been in left field because of the Loy. But he wasn't going to be at first base much because of Abreu. I knew he was mostly going to DH. So, but like you said, he did play first base the entire Twins series, and he went, and then even before then, he's played there a couple times, and he's looked fine there for the most part. So, I wouldn't really worry about his defense unless something's going to airmail him. But Anderson's gotten better on defense, and then he owns a very good third base defender. So I wouldn't really worry about his height hurting him when it comes to like high throws and whatnot. So
that was quite the call, putting him in the left. I don't know. Did you guys?
Yeah.
Were you all right with that? Or?
Yeah, I was a bit surprised. I mean, they did in spring training, and I was curious to see how it went, and he just like kept playing, and there weren't any like, it wasn't like every game. Like with Eloy, every game you're like, come on, dude, like
Right.
You need to get there. But like with Vaughn, it's not like that. Like I think he's actually like statistically, I think he's like a -2 outs above average, so it's not that great, but it's not much worse than Eloy. So I really don't mind him out
Yeah, if
there.
he was going to replace any outfielder, I mean, Eloy's probably the best options just since he's not that good to begin with.
Yeah, I'd agree.
yeah, I mean, like I said, he's played a little outfield at high school. Obviously, that doesn't really mean anything, but I mean, left field is not that hard of a position to learn on the fly. I mean, he did it a lot in the alternate site here and there just to kind of make himself a little more, versatile. Because we had a glut of first base DH types anyway, so making him kind of like I know Chris Bryant, he's playing a lot of outfield positions, so someone who could do that is very valuable. So I don't think it's going to hurt him. But I mean, if you think about it, if Lloyd comes back, you could possibly see Vaughn in right field if he's playing enough, and they might throw him over there a little bit here and there because if he's hot and Mercedes is still hitting, they'll want to keep him in the lineup. So they might even try him in right field. I don't know if that's a little, and I've seen people think that way, but obviously you have to see if that happens. But it might be a possibility they might try. Just a thought.
Yeah, I'll be curious to see how much playing time Eloy gets in the field once he comes back, or if they're just gonna full-time DH him.
Yeah, I just don't know. It really depends on how much production Mercedes keeps up, if that's going to be the case, because they're not going to want to move him out of the lineup. He's still hitting, obviously not hitting 350, but he might be still at a point where he's hitting 270, 280 and producing. So it really depends.
I was wondering with Mercedes, like at what point does it just stop being like, oh, this is a nice story, and is it just like, oh, he's actually a really good hitter?
When does he become the next Nelson Cruz?
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still kind of just like every time he goes like 3 for 4, I'm like again, like I'm shocked.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he's always hit in the minors. He's been with the Nationals and the Orioles, and then in a lot of Dominican independent leagues. But
He
he's
just
not
can't really play defense though.
He's played catcher and third base and the minors here and there, but he's not good at it. He's not good at he's not good at it at all. He's got a good arm. Like I saw in spring training, he would throw some runners out, but he's not a good defender whatsoever. But
strike zone coming.
Yeah.
97 for Ron Don.
Wow, he's looking. This is the best he's looked so far this year, I think.
Yeah, he's rolling 5 strikeouts through 1 2/3 so far.
Yeah, he struck out everyone on like how many pitches does he have?
Yeah, they just showed a graphic that this year his average fastball is like 95 flat, and last year it was 92.8. That's a jump.
Rodon's at just 21 pitches.
If you're striking everybody out, you're gonna do that.
Yeah.
Well, you get a lot of foul balls, but this is really efficient for him.
Evan in the HotMic chat says Corbin Burns to the White Sox. What? I'm not sure what he's referencing. If it's something on one of the broadcasts, I have my broadcast muted right now, so I can talk to you guys. I don't think that Corbin Burns to the White Sox is a possibility in any way whatsoever.
No, but over the off season, it was. There were some pretty reputable White Sox sources saying that it looked like it was going to be Madrigal, Jared Kelly, and another name for Corbin Burns, but then they wanted Vaughn or Kopech instead of Madrigal, it seemed, towards the end of discussions, and Rick Hahn told them no way.
Yeah, I think I'd agree with Rick Hahn on that move.
Yeah,
it was. I think the third piece was Hoyer, and then they wanted Crochet, not Kopech, and it was Crochet and Vaughn. And I understand the hesitancy of Hahn there, but I mean, I wasn't. I mean, obviously.
I mean,
Vaughn's
has plus hit and plus power, so he's
yeah.
going to be your franchise first baseman after Abreu. So,
I actually don't even know. Seeing Abreu's resurgence as far as like last year for the MVP season, and then like also his defense has gotten so much better. I don't know how much. I mean, next year is his last year of his contract, but I don't really see him going unless he wants to stop playing. He's not going to play anywhere else. He's so dedicated to the Sox, he won't play anywhere else. So I mean, if he wants to keep playing, they'll keep giving him contracts. It really just depends. But I mean, either way, he'll have a spot in left field or DH either way. So I wouldn't really be too concerned about it playing time wise. But
yeah, the Braves deal is going to expire at a really interesting time for him. It's going to be interesting to see if he sustains the production he's had over the last 80 games.
Is it up after this year or next year?
Next year.
Okay.
yeah, he signed a 3-year deal after 19. And that was right after they drafted Vaughn too, so there's not like it made a difference or anything. So
I don't know how far behind or ahead you guys are, but Odor is hitting on my screen right now. And have you guys ever looked into some of those? He had a couple of those 30 home run seasons he had when he was with Texas.
he regressed horribly.
He was just like let's see.
He looks so different now without the facial hair too. The Yankees probably made him shave. That's how they work there. But it's like he looks so different without it. He was like 5 years younger, honestly.
In 2017, he hit 30 home runs. And that's all the information I'll give you. And he was his WAR was negative 1.4.
Yeah.
So that's pretty good. I think that same year there was a couple guys. Can't remember. I think Kemp. Maybe that might have been a few years earlier, but one of those 5 or 6 years ago, Kemp went 30 and 100, and he was like one of the worst players in baseball. And I thought that was pretty funny.
Vaughn finally doesn't get a strikeout. It's Odor of all people who.
I just saw the fly out.
Yeah.
Probably the worst hair the Yankees have right now around Andujar. Yeah, you're right, Kelly. I pulled a Jeff Bagwell. He was 6 feet, so recently.
Of course, that's a baseball height, so you gotta take that with a grain of salt. What's the most strikeouts a White Sox pitcher has had through the first 3 innings?
That's a good question.
I think I saw that tweet pop up. So 7?
7?
I mean,
he's got a chance for it.
Kopech had that start against the Rangers. I know it was super recently, so it probably wasn't that, but I think he had like 8, right?
No, that was a straight strikeout record for 7. My bad. I saw a tweet from Merkin that popped up, so my bad. But that's what you were referencing, Kelly. I wasn't sure what you meant.
Yeah.
2-3. I mean, yeah. I mean, it probably is more than 7, obviously, but I'm not really sure what it is.
If he struck out Odor, I was gonna ask our producer Peyton what the most strikeouts to start a game was. Just in general MLB history.
Yeah, let's see.
I gotta imagine it's at least 9. I can definitely see someone like Randy Johnson doing that. Well, isn't 9 strikeouts in a row the major league record? Maybe not 9, maybe 8.
Yeah, it's 8. It looks like DeGrom tied it pretty recently.
Mm-hmm. Against the Rockies, probably. In one of those doubleheaders, he was chasing the record for most strikeouts in a single game. Or not in a single game.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, that was a bummer. That was one of those 7-inning games. He had like a pretty good look at a pretty high strikeout total. Unfortunate that it was 7 innings. And nice play by Judge there.
Mm-hmm. Can't let Mendick, of all people, go deep on you. If Madrigal was traded, who would be the second baseman for the Sox right now? Would it be Mendick?
Yeah,
He'd probably would be the most ready one. But I think they probably would have signed somebody. But a lot of people are talking about Tommy La Stella, who the Giants signed. But
La Stella is good.
Yeah, I was a big proponent of that. I wanted La Stella on the White Sox pretty badly there. Even just his depth if we kept Madrigal.
And La Stella, he can play third, second, and first, albeit none well. Except for maybe first. He might be an average defender at first.
Yeah. Yeah, I would have been able to fill in.
So my apologies, Jordan, but I know you said you didn't want to talk about it much, but I'm just curious, like, because some of that La Russa stuff is like really bad, and I can't like imagine that, I don't know, that the players would be like comfortable high-fiving him like after the game and like hanging out in the same locker room and everything.
I think Tim Anderson was the one who said something along the lines of, "Hey, we're his bad children. We don't always get along, but that's okay." I think it was him who said something along those lines today.
to be honest with you, I really don't think the players care, or like there might be there's some speculation that was stirring the pot to kind of take the pressure off his players and more and just put on him. Ozzy did this a lot where he would throw his players on the bus just to take the pressure off his players and put it on him and deflect the pressure so
Just
the
to get
players
them out of
focused.
the headlines.
Yeah, to keep the players focused on winning and playing and not really worry about the media. So in a way, I think La Russa might be kind of, I wouldn't say playing a game, but he might be like stretching the truth of how he feels about the player, kind of deflecting pressure from his players. So there might be, I mean, it's a theory I kind of had. I don't know how much truth there is to it. So,
but
he's
that kind of goes against what Lance Lynn said, complaining about what La Russa was done. He's gotten the whole office locker room quote.
Again, I mean, I could be playing on words. I mean, obviously, everyone knows that a manager has an office, he has a locker, but you know, everyone has a right to their opinions as far as how they feel about the game. I mean, I don't think it's ever right to ignore a manager's take sign. If you're a manager who takes sign, you do acknowledge it. That's your job as a player. Listen to your manager. And I just think that the reason why a take sign was there was because he doesn't want to offend the Twins, but no one cares about the Twins' feelings. But but
is it confirmed that there was a take sign? Do we know?
Yes, he was yelling it from the top stoop multiple times to Yerman. Either Yerman was too distracted or he just missed it. And
Williams was going pretty fast.
It's also like Yerman won't hit free agency until he's 35. Like he's gonna earn all of his money through arbitration, and each home run is so valuable.
Worth a lot, Tim.
I think he has all the right to try to get an extra home run, even if it's off Studio.
I mean, I understand. I mean, if I was the manager, I wouldn't personally call it take sign there. I'm not that kind of person. I like the way the game is now with the flashiness and the showboating. I think it's good for the game. But I do get where La Russa's coming from. I mean, I'm not defending him whatsoever what he did. I just don't think, I'm not going to get mad at him for the take sign because I understand why he did it.
Yeah.
So, but like I said, there's a lot of reasons to believe this clubhouse is like there's a lot of concern about the clubhouse chemistry if it's going to collapse. But this clubhouse has been built to be very tight knit. And close when Renteria was here, just to kind of keep it that way. It stayed that way. So, and they had, I dressed up like Moncada flight theme he did, where everyone was dressed up like in like flashy clothes and like fun colors. If you look on Sox Twitter, you see it there on their Twitter page. It's pretty cool. And then you see there's a video. Moncada was doing an Instagram live, and La Russa popped in the video and he smiled. So he wasn't telling him to put his phone away. So there's really no problem with La Russa where it's affecting the clubhouse. I mean, obviously it's 40 games in, whatever, but I really don't. I think all those headlines about the clubhouse being tested by La Russa's comments or behavior is really overblown. I don't really think that's going to be a problem.
Yeah, and that's what and that goes back to what Anderson said today with the kids, the whole kids and parents quote.
Yeah, I mean, La Russa is an older. He's got a lot of the old game mentality. So it's like your grandpa or your dad. You're not going to agree with him on everything, but but it's not like you're fighting and you hate the guy.
I will say, as all the things that La Russa has done this year, the players haven't said a lot of negative stuff. Like off the top of my head, the Lance Lynn thing is the only thing I can really remember of a player speaking up against him, which seems to be good.
Yeah,
that seemed like pretty much the only direct shot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was just a lot of players siding with Yermin more than players going against La Russa.
Yeah, I mean, Lance Lynn was with La Russa in 2011. He was a rookie on bullpen. He wasn't a big piece of that team. So it's you can't always say he's a right-hand guy. It was 1 year he was with him. But they knew each other very well. And, he played for him, but he was a rookie at that time. So everyone thought that was something, but I don't think there's any problem. I mean, outside of Rodon, Lynn's being the best pitcher on the staff. So I think this is getting a little bit overblown. And like I said, I'm ready to just focus on the team's performance, not really put this behind me as a fan, honestly. And I'm really sick of talking about it. No offense, Sam. I mean, I'm willing to chat about it, but I don't want to make it the entire topic of the stream, honestly.
Right.
No, I don't blame you.
No, but I mean, I gave my 2 cents, and I'm okay with it. But I'm ready to move on.
Yeah, I mean, you're right though. It definitely seems like the kind of thing it seems like a big deal, but it also none of us are in the clubhouse.
Really
so, it could have been taken care of days ago. We wouldn't even know.
It got. Yeah, we saw Joe Girardi last weekend when he had the issue with Gene Segura. He basically said, bench conversation, leave it to the bench. Don't ask me about this. I would have loved if La Russa would have played that card instead. Said, we handled it in-house, no discussion. I'm not talking about this in discussion. Yermin did what he did. We talked to him, done. If that would have been his approach, nothing would have happened, but he either chose to overblow it to do some sort of thing where he takes pressure from his players, or he just made something look bad. But I mean, he had the problem of Tatis's home run last year, so his stance hasn't changed. So either way, I mean, I think this is getting a tad bit overblown, and again, want to move on. So
another strikeout there.
Yeah.
Another strikeout on back foot slider. He's working out.
Oh, they're already pulling out the no-hitter.
Oh boy, not again. I'll take it again.
We got Peyton's favorite player up, Miguel Andujar.
Oh boy,
it's everybody's favorite player.
Yeah. Noted Rookie of the Year candidate, Miguel Andujar.
That's exactly right.
This guy's been like a big team. There was like I always saw like trade rumors about this guy. Like he was always like trade packages. Like no one wants him. He can't hit.
Yeah.
He can't field.
Yeah, I think hitting is the only thing
that
he
either.
can really do.
That's why Gio Urshela is the starting third baseman, not Miguel Andujar. And Gio Urshela has been a pleasant surprise when the Indians who gave up on him.
I think it was the Indians and the Blue Jays.
Yeah. I think he was most recently on the Blue Jays prior to going to the Yankees.
And I think Voit was the Cardinals, I believe. So they grabbed a few players that organizations weren't really given the chance, and they excelled with both him and Voit, I believe. So
I'm pretty Voit could always hit, but I'm pretty like Urshela kind of came out of nowhere because he was on there. He was on, I don't know if it was the World Series roster, but he was on some of their playoff rosters on the Indians in 2016, and he was like just straight up a defensive replacement, and that was it. And
he's always a good defender. He's a really good defender, always. But the bats really come along since he got to New York.
Well, both Voit and Urshela were kind of blocked. Urshela by Jose Ramirez and Voit by Matt Carpenter, and then Goldschmidt. So I don't think it's really a big criticism on the Cardinals or Cleveland that they traded those players away. I think it's just good on the Yankees for being able to identify that talent.
Yeah, the Cardinals have had a lot of players that they've gotten rid of that like blossomed other places. I mean, I've heard this before. I forgot the names, but I know they've had players they got rid of that blossomed before. But they have a good team. Just that they've had players that have blossomed in other places before.
Yeah, they had Randy, and then
they had Rosarina,
and they had Tommy Pham, who's not as good, or he's been off to a rough start, but he was good with the Rays there for a bit.
Honestly, I wouldn't put it past him at the stabbing in the back from the nightclub didn't mess up his body. I mean, that's a tough thing to deal with.
But we're gonna be thinking of it as the Jake Cronenworth trade and not the Tommy Pham trade. To be fair,
It's true.
Yeah, and a small, little known fact: the Robert, when Robert was acquired by the Sox, the Cardinals were number 2 in the bidding war, so they also lost out on that too as well.
Mm-hmm.
So there won't be a no-hitter tonight, at least in this game. Both the Yankees and the White Sox have gotten hits now.
That was Andujar, right?
Yeah,
noted hitter Miguel Andujar.
It was absolutely crushed. 69.4 miles per hour off the bat.
Odor breaks up the strikeout, and Andujar breaks up the no-hitter. Like 2 unlikely hitters doing those 2 things.
Yeah.
2 purest hitters in the land.
The Cardinals also got Giovanni Gallegos in the Voit trade, so it didn't work out bad on their part.
Yeah.
I mean, that's certainly not a bad piece to have.
They got Liberatore from the Rays, and
the Rosarena trade, yeah. Liberatore, he was a top 100 prospect. He was the one that really popped headlines when people saw that he was traded.
Yeah.
Give me a sec, guys.
To be fair, the Cardinals kind of lost everything when they let go of Gomber for some no name.
That's true. that was an interesting call by them.
I like that Gardner is like climbing the leaderboard on a lot of like all-time Yankees lists.
Yeah,
I mean he's good,
just through sheer preservation.
Yeah, just by presence.
Yeah.
I mean he's been good, but just
he's not bad. Good eye, decent power.
Yeah, it's just funny that he's like cracking the top 10 and like the most valuable Yankees ever.
Yeah.
Just for
Mayhew.
Oh man. Well, there's
We were just talking about Madrigal's defense.
It's doesn't seem like it's turning around, and
That's just an issue of rushing the throw.
Starting to think you guys lied to me.
I did not lie, but that was not good.
Yeah.
That was not good.
I think
saw
the catch can be forgiven, but not rushing the throw like that. I mean, he had plenty of time.
Yeah, he could have gone to second
close,
too.
But I think it's worth not, committing the error.
That looked like. Do you remember when the A's did they win like 12 straight at the beginning of the year?
Not at the beginning. We lost 7 straight at the beginning, and then we won 13 straight after that.
Right.
One of those games, worst play I've ever seen him make ever. Honestly.
Yeah, one of those games came off a walk-off error against the Twins in extra innings.
It was a rise. He threw it from third, and it was like 25 feet from the first baseman. It was like something.
Arias is a second baseman, left fielder, not much of a third baseman.
Right.
They took Josh Donaldson, who's a pretty good third baseman, out of the game for Arias, I think, actually.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah, we could have been out of this inning.
Or that might have been when Donaldson was injured or something, day to day.
Actually, yeah, you might be right, because I think he missed some time early. Right, because on opening day he hit a double, and on his way to second he pulled his hamstring. I think it was his hamstring.
Good play by Abreu.
He makes those plays. He's a great heads up first base, and he's always trying to home.
Ooh, okay. Yeah. See, I hate being behind guys, but
yeah, I'm still waiting to see what all the hype is about.
I'll take the warning that something could happen though.
Yeah.
Oh wow, yeah.
Honestly, I think Collins gets a lot of flack for. He's really been fine behind the plate there. I mean, the offense hasn't been that great, but he's been fine behind the plate, honestly, in my opinion. So I think he's been okay as a backup catcher for us. He's playing a lot more than I imagined to this year, but he's been fine back there, honestly.
That's Collins you're talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was kind of surprised by his playing time, too.
I've been a big fan of his bat, but he's been pretty good behind the plate. And I think he's a really good backup catcher, but obviously you just want to see Grandal out there, like most days. But it seems like Collins has kind of been adopted as Rodon's personal catcher now.
Yeah, I mean, they've been back to, when they have a day game the following day, and Rodon usually caught by Grandal, and they don't want to have him catch 2 nights in a row. So I understand why he wasn't playing, even though Collins caught Giolito the other day. But I realized, we got a day game tomorrow, and Cease is going, so they did it that way on purpose. And Grandal has not DH'd or really played first base as much as he did last year, so TLR is totally fine with giving him the day off when he's not catching.
Yeah.
Ooh, that was a big strike out there, and a great play and Braves save a run.
I'll see it when I see it. There it is. He is.
Yeah.
Some of the in the Twitter here. It's more for you guys. See some don't. What do you think?
I my favorite all that. I mean, I think he is going to be one of the best numbers in baseball.
Himself into shape because this is the first time he was fighting for a contract. He got denied arbitration in November, so this is kind of his wake up call to get. It's not even a discussion
so far.
Yeah.
I think this emergence for Rondon has been key to the White Sox playoff hopes, especially since Robert and Eloy have gone down.
Yeah, I'd have to agree.
I think he's really been elevating them a lot. He's really, saved them. Playing in the AL Central certainly hasn't hurt, but I think if he wasn't performing to the level he is right now, I don't think that the White Sox would have the lead or might not even be in first place in the beginning.
Yeah, I think the rotation has definitely been the part of the team I'm most pleasantly surprised with. I think they've exceeded almost everyone has exceeded my expectations, other than Giolito. Funny enough, but I think that just speaks to Ethan Katz, and I was most interested to see Rodon, Cease, and Kopech this year, and what Ethan Katz he's made all three of them have made major strides.
Has still been like flip flop between like spot starts and coming out?
Yeah.
He covered Lynn a lot when he was on the IL. He covered double headers. But I always knew Kopech had the stuff to be, what he's doing right now. I'm wondering how his command would look for not pitching so much, but his command's been great. He's not walking really many batters. His fastball is electric. So I was really surprised how honestly. But he's definitely going to be in that rotation picture for next year or later on season, depending go with Cecil or Don, or if they have an injury or whatever. But yeah, he is definitely. I think honestly, here is going to help him stay in line. And, and I really think the whole personal catcher he needs, but can it be good, is way overblown. But I do admit there was a chemistry last year, but I don't think it's like a necessity that he's here. It's not like a Yu Darvish, Caratini thing I used to see with the Cubs on the other side. It's not because he got traded along in that trade together because they have a chemistry. So, but I would think that's hugely overblown. That's like a need for him. So.
Luke, how do you pronounce your last name?
Saihojas. It's I know it's
Saihojas.
confusing.
All right.
Yeah, it's Greek.
Oh, now I see it. The stream pulled up. Okay. I was like, wait, okay.
So are you two? What are you like from around Chicago or?
I'm not. I live. Yeah, this is a real pitcher's duel.
That's just a prize. I mean, like I said, there's only been one lefty to be able to solve the Sox. It's Mike Minor. So to see Jordan Montgomery, that's where I got the names mixed up, hold us down a little bit here is a little bit surprising, but it's early, so I'm not too worried about it yet. But we should. I mean, I would hope we get some runs on board for sure.
What do White Sox fans think of Rick Hahn generally?
I'm a big Rick Hahn fan. I think, he hasn't been given the biggest budget, and he doesn't have the best player development behind him, and he's able to construct a World Series roster. Incredible that he's able to do it, and he's been able to do it. And I think if he had that big budget, if he had an Angels budget or a Yankees budget, he'd be able to do even more.
Yeah, he's I've also been a Rick Hahn. I wouldn't say apologist, but a fan of him for sure. Maybe a little bit of apologist because I do blame a lot of the lack of spending given him as far as off seasons go. He's done well with what he's given. So, and this team has just done well both years outside of the collapse last year. But these 2 seasons have been, very encouraging to watch. I mean, it's been fun baseball the last 2 years. So I wouldn't be too upset if what he's doing at this stage of the window opening for contention. So,
yeah, I think it's also important to know that, like, I mean, at least I personally believe the Tony La Russa hire was not his call at all. I'm still under the impression he wanted Hinch. It was clear from his press conference.
From what I've heard from other White Sox, they all said himself who went out to get La Russa because he was friends with La Russa.
Yeah, La Russa was here from 79 to 86, well before any of us were born. I mean, I'm 32, so maybe 3 years off. So, I mean, I was close to seeing him, but yeah, I mean, what's his face? Hawk Harrelson, our former announcer, was the GM at the time, and he was the one that actually fired La Russa. And it was there was a narrative that this is kind of like, hey, I fired you. I want to redo my mistake.
Right.
Yep.
Wait, did you say Hawk Harrelson was the GM? Am I just
yes? He